Happy New Year, citizens of Gotham. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Political Boom Vigilante. Ooh, boo. The economy not looking good. I know when you watch like the mainstream media and Biden are just like, the economy's doing fine. They'll release some numbers. Job numbers are up. And just like, who are you talking to? They just gaslight the American people because we all we all go to the grocery store and we all see how much prices are. I just was looking for an apartment 3-4 months ago and saw what the rents were in Los Angeles and was like, wow. Um, and it's pretty nuts. So, and this past summer, there was a lot of labor strikes. There was the UAW, there was Amazon, there was the writers and actors that I was involved with. And then the cost of gas is up there and everything else is expensive. So this is a financial guy I follow a little bit. And again, these are not like endorsements, pro or con for these folks, but this is just about the number of bankruptcies. This is not an indicator of a good economy. So this is Peter St. Onge, PhD. Fresh numbers on bankruptcies are out. Total filings were up 13% on the year, hitting 433,000. Corporate bankruptcies soared 30% over 17,000, the highest tally since the 2008 crisis. That's not good.
How many bankruptcies does it take to build back better? With Joe Biden's signature blend of malign neglect burning up the economy, the U.S. court system just released fresh numbers on bankruptcies. They are not good. In fact, one analyst, Albert Edwards, called them, quote, truly bonkers. Total filings were up 13% on the year, hitting over 430,000 cases. Corporate bankruptcies soared 30% on the year, hitting over 17,000. For major corporate bankruptcies, it's the highest tally since the 2008 crisis. Note, this is all before the recession hits, whether it's a soft landing or the hard stuff. And so despite the $8 trillion pumped into the economy with stimulus, which our grandkids will be paying off with interest, companies are dropping like flies. Victims of rampant inflation, ongoing regulatory harassment, and stubborn stagnation in an economy held aloft on a gossamer string of maxed out credit cards and blowing the 401k money on buy now, pay later. Already, defaults on both corporate bonds and speculative grade bonds have tripled on last year alone. And Goldman Sachs predicts there's a lot more to come, predicting a wave of, quote, zombies killed off as debt-laden companies scramble to refinance $800 billion of debt next year and $1.1 trillion in 2025. Even as banks cut back on loans to protect their gutted portfolios of government debt and commercial real estate. New capital rules called Basel IV will make it worse, pressuring banks to lop off another tranche of zombies. Reuters notes the problem is worldwide, suggesting contagion with a tidal wave of, quote, zombie businesses that were just barely holding on with low rates. They were barely holding on with low rates. They are going off the edge now, meaning either mass layoffs or mass losses to their banks as the debts are written down. Apparently, major banks are already doing a brisk business in debt restructuring, meaning they forgive part of the debt so the borrower can pay at least something. They do this because otherwise the loan goes on the bad loan pile, and they have to tell markets and regulators about it and set aside capital as a buffer. At this point, even the private equity is pulling out, that last refuge of scoundrels, the secret room behind the cash register where money can be had for a price. Note, all of this is happening with a global credit crunch already hitting governments. As I mentioned in recent videos, how federal debt service is soaring because new debt is so much more expensive than old debt that was incurred during the easy money days. Of course, governments can get all the money they want. After all, they're bidding with your life savings, generously fortified by an unlimited money printer in the basement of the New York Fed, meaning government will still get the money, but there won't be much left for the companies or the consumers whose dwindling savings are holding the whole thing together with bubblegum and baling wire. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. We are coming into a perfect storm for bankruptcy, stubborn inflation, spreading stagnation, strangled banks, and nervous governments scrounging the couch cushions for every last dime. It will get worse as the recession unfolds, soft or not. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
All right, so there's that. And, so, you know, whether you agree with all of his opinions, what he is talking about are the numbers. These bankruptcies are up. The companies are having this immense debt. And then you see stories like this. Well, this is in Forbes, okay? Will the housing market crash in 2024? Experts give 5-year predictions. And, you know, are we in a housing bubble? The Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas identified signs of a brewing U.S. housing bubble in a 2022 report. Though the sharp increase in home prices doesn't indicate a bubble, the report found there are other fundamental factors to consider. These include shifts in disposable income, the cost of credit and access to it, supply disruptions, and rising labor and new construction materials. Well, that's what that last guy was just talking about. When there isn't an access to credit, when businesses can't get lines of credit or banks don't give out lines of credit, it affects big businesses. It affects small, middle-sized businesses and small businesses. It even just affects the average homeowner who's like, you know, I want to get, you know, a home equity line of credit to, you know, remodel our garage and turn it into an apartment, you know, that we're going to rent out or whatever. Think about that line of money. Think about the jobs, just the average homeowner, just a husband and wife or whatever owns a home and they want to get a, you know, $40,000, $50,000 home equity line of credit to remodel their garage, let's say for 40 grand. And now the interest rates are high. So now look, they can't, and if they could get that money and that means that money goes into the economy in the materials to remodel the garage, the contractors, whatever, the 4 or 5, half a dozen guys or whatever that come out and work on that, those jobs aren't happening. So that's happening all over the place. That's just giving you one little sort of personal example. Now you take that and you put it in terms of big corporations and the Max Kaiser talked about it when he was on this show. The commercial real estate is collapsing. Kaiser was talking about, you know, $300 million pieces of commercial real estate that are being sold off in Manhattan for $30 million. That's nuts. That's a significant amount of money. And there's more evidence of all this. Again, I'm getting this from Forbes. I'm not getting this from some like crazy website. And then third is delinquency rates at highest level in almost 30 years for auto loans. So this came out, this is end of November of just this past year, right? The last time this many drivers were delinquent on their loans was when the first mobile flip phone entered the market in October of 1996. That's according to new data from Fitch Ratings examining the percentage of borrowers in the last 60 days past due on their loans in the 2023 third quarter. Subprime auto loan delinquency surge. According to Experian, borrowers with FICO scores between 501 and 600 fall under the subprime category. Lenders use subprime borrowers as a greater financial risk. Their low scores often indicate past problems with repaying credit. To offset the risk, lenders charge these borrowers higher interest rates. This is why, guys, I've been telling you for 4 years now to buy Bitcoin. And if you don't want to hear it, that's fine. Don't mess with the altcoins. Just buy a little Bitcoin. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial expert. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my opinion. Take 5 to 10% of your assets and put them into Bitcoin because a flood of money is going to come into Bitcoin. And even if the Bitcoin price drops initially because of a market crash, it'll go back up because all the money will flood back into Bitcoin. Whether you want to do Bitcoin or not, that's up to you. But these are not good indicators for an economy. This is like all signs pointing to a recession, a big one, and maybe a big financial collapse. And as Joe Biden just circumvented Congress again to send another whatever $100 million to Israel or whatever amount of money he's sending, he just went to get. You're supposed to. The president is supposed to ask Congress for money to go for war. Didn't do it. No president. The last time a president asked Congress for money for war was World War II. Presidents have just been like doing whatever they want with war. I've tried to talk about my situation and educate people as best I can because I don't want anyone to go through what I went through back in 2010 when I went through foreclosure. It was awful. It was awful. And I've slowly built back from then. Slowly built back. Built back better. Nope, not that slogan. That's not a good one. So I hope this helps. And be ready, because they can only prop up this economy. They can only print so much money for so long to keep this going. They can't keep doing this. It won't last. It's a Ponzi scheme. And all of these people in like Forbes and Bloomberg and all these financial experts and all of these mainstream media, when they're talking about it, that's when you go pay. That's when you really got to pay attention. So I thought there would be a bigger collapse in the fall. In last March, when the Silicon Valley Bank went under and they started bailing it out, and Biden came out and said, your money's safe. I was like, uh-oh. This was the same timeline. It was March of 2008 when the first banks went under. I think it was Lehman Brothers. And then by September of 2008, everything collapsed. So they've been propping it up. We didn't have the big collapse. They keep talking about there's going to be a soft landing. Well, let's hope. Let's hope it's not some big collapse rug pull, but we are going into a recession. We're in one already. They just don't want to say it, but it's going to get worse, way worse. So be ready. Have your money in a credit union. Be ready. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. The banks and Wall Street control both of our political parties, so you're not going to get anything. And if you think, oh, well, just get rid of Biden and get the Republicans in there, they'll fix it. They'll be just as awful. Look what happened under Bush. They're just as awful. That's why I'm an independent. But shave your knuckles for justice.